All right, well, let's start with some news. Um, so, this is the latest scandal to come around the Doge team. This is Big Balls. Yeah, Edward, the 19-year-old on the team that's currently shutting down the U.S. government services and canceling them just because Elon Musk doesn't like them, uh, was terminated for leaking financial information to the competitors in 22 at a previous company he was at, among the many other things. What's surprising, I think, yesterday is that one of the team quit because it came out that he had racist posts on social media, and that very much surprised me because you're working for Elon Musk, who is an open Nazi, so why would anybody care if you're racist? That would be seen as a positive thing, not a negative thing. And in fact, apparently Elon Musk is now openly talking about just bringing him back. Apparently Elon Musk figured out the same thing. The young man who quit is operating on an old playbook back when racism is a bad thing and scandal is a bad thing, I think before Trump. Now you just completely ignore it if there are accusations against your morality and keep going, and no one seems to care. No one on the Republican side seems to care at all about morality, which is a new and surprising thing. Even 10 years ago, a guy named Steve King was thrown out of the Republican Party for being a Nazi. That was not acceptable at that time. Now it makes you the effective president of the world, of the United States. So anyway, but it is amazing and completely illegal that Elon Musk and his gang of startup acolytes are just rampaging through government systems, shutting down things they don't like. And here they have a pretty good article at Wired explaining it. I mean, the U.S. government is not a startup. What Elon is doing is what he did in startups, where you just sort of barge in like Twitter, fire everybody in sight, shut down everything. Anybody that can't explain what they're doing in like 5 minutes, you just fire them saying, well, you must be an idiot. And then if you break things, you try and rebuild them again. But the problem is U.S. government doesn't have that kind of operation, and it's not the right way to treat it. Like I was just reading, the thing they've shut down and destroyed, USAID, was the number one source of like food in many developing countries and so on. I mean, there are a lot of government services that do really important things, even though they don't show profit the way a private company does. Anyway, so they talk about how he's doing it here, and here we are. Big Balls. The 19-year-old on the team, that was his online name. And so now there's a meme coin for Big Balls, which is, the guy's name is Korstein, so there's a meme coin for it, and so we'll see how far it goes. Right now they say it's selling at a whopping many zeros. 792 looks like about 1/1,000,000th of a penny or something. But anyway, it may rise, it may not. In this day of the internet, anybody that has any kind of fame can have a meme coin to some extent. And here's the guy that resigned after some racist posts resurfaced from an account he tried to hide but couldn't conceal well enough in time. But like I say, Elon Musk is already talking about hiring him back, which would be the more logical thing to do if logic has anything to do with this. I have trouble understanding the right wing. They seem to operate from some kind of emotional level that I can't really understand or predict. Like one thing that's been getting me for the last 8 years is at least every week there's a headline about something appalling Trump did, and I always think, surely his supporters will turn against him now that he has done this latest outrage, and they never do. Although, my friend that knows more about the right says that they're actually pretty mad about Elon Musk now, and his support is actually falling by letting Elon Musk just rampage through the government like this. Apparently, there are some Trump supporters that aren't on board with this. So it would be great if Trump supporters would finally stop following Trump, but I'm skeptical. And so The Hague has come out and condemned the actions of Israel in Gaza, which are unquestionably genocide. And now Trump came out after meeting with Netanyahu and said openly that we should just have ethnic cleansing. We should just take all the remaining people that we haven't killed in Gaza. We killed 500,000, so there's 1.8 million left. We should just shove them all off into some kind of refugee camp somewhere so we can clear out the land, and then we can build like golf courses and resorts on there, which I must say is the kind of thinking that was popular in like the 1700s with the Spanish conquistadors, and it's essentially what we did to the Native Americans in America, just slaughter them so we could take their land. But the modern world no longer looks on this as a moral activity. I mean, the justification at that time was God has chosen us in our religion, and these people worship a different God and therefore have no right to live. They're not even pretending that's the excuse here. They just find these people inconvenient, and therefore they should be slaughtered and shoved off. And the International Criminal Court at The Hague accurately refuses to support this and condemn Netanyahu as well as condemning Hamas. And so now Trump has sanctioned them. And I think we've also withdrawn from the International Human Rights Treaty. Since we have no intention of supporting human rights, there's no point pretending that we belong in a human rights treaty now that we're ruled by apparently a Nazi regime. And so they're also, while they're destroying all government agencies, they want to destroy the National Science Foundation. So this is pretty extreme, and what it's going to do is cut the overhead that funds research universities in the United States. So this goes along with the Project 2025 goal of just basically shrinking the U.S. government so it doesn't really provide any services at all, so they can have tax cuts for the billionaires. Now, the way America went through a period of great prosperity in the 60s and 70s is because in the 50s we actually taxed the rich. The income tax for people who made a lot of money went up to like 90%, so there was actually money you could use to fund the government, and the government used it to fund things like schools and workplaces and stuff. So it created this thing called the middle class, a group of people in America with good lifestyle, and now ever since Reagan, over the last 40 years, we've been destroying that. Going back to an oligarch system, which is where we are now, where you have a few ultra-rich people that just take all the money and everybody else gets only the crumbs that fall from their table. Historically, this usually leads to some kind of revolution. Eventually, the poor people get tired of putting up with this, and they turn on the rich by force. However, in America, the poor support Trump and encourage him to do more of this until recently, at least until present. At some point, they will wake up and realize that they're just being swindled, but I don't see any sign of it happening yet. So Tesla sales have crashed, and some people say it might be because the people in Europe are upset because Musk is not only pushing Nazism here, he's pushing Nazism in Europe quite explicitly. In Germany and the UK in particular, he's been pushing their far-right parties, saying, well, you guys need to be Nazis, and that's what's going to make your country great, and that's really not popular over there. However, to be fair, the other problem is, as you can imagine, Musk pretends to be the CEO of like 6 major companies, and now he's spending all his time tearing apart the U.S. government and promoting Trump. So he's been neglecting his companies, and they say Tesla actually hasn't had a new model of any importance in many years. And so their Tesla products are kind of out of date and stale, and the competitor electric vehicles are actually better. So anyway, his sales have fallen by like 60% in many European countries. So there was actually beginning to have a little bit of talk inside Tesla of pushing Musk out as CEO, although not enough to succeed in doing that yet. But, as Steve Jobs found out, if you drive your company in a way that doesn't make profit, you will eventually be pushed out and lose your company. That's the corporate structure is supposed to work that way. Anyway, that's enough of the news. Let me stop there.